Hello. I'm here to talk about de-extinction. Creatures have always gone extinct. The woolly mammoth, dodo bird, dinosaurs, Tasmanian tiger, and Purian ibex all used to roam our Earth, but have vanished. In 2000, the last Purian ibex, Cecilia, died from being crushed under a tree, but scientists were closely monitoring her and preserved her cells in labs. In 2003, they did the impossible, brought an extinct creature back to life. The scientists injected Cecilia's nuclei into goat eggs emptied of their DNA and planted them into goat mothers. 57 of these implantations led to 7 pregnancies, 6 miscarriages, and 1 clone of Cecilia. The baby ibex did not last long, however. It had a lung deformity, struggled to breathe, and died within 10 minutes of her birth. Ever since the release of Jurassic Park in 1993, de-extinction has been a science fiction idea, but now it is actually possible. With modern technology, scientists can make an adult cell return to an embryo-like state where they can turn into any cell, an egg or a sperm for this project, and then they turn it into a full-on embryo. The embryo can then be implanted into a mother. This technique would be more likely to produce a healthy animal than just swapping DNA into a mother's egg. Even though the technology exists to bring animals back from the dead, it would be a very bad idea to do so. There are 3 main reasons why extinct animals should stay extinct. They would be exploited only for human benefit, our resources should be spent on saving endangered animals, and there could be many unforeseen consequences. If these animals were brought back, they mainly would be used for personal benefit. The first species to be brought back would be the exciting ones. Who wouldn't want to see a saber-toothed tiger or woolly mammoth? If alive, these creatures would end up in zoos because there they could be monitored, but also to drive crowds of people. Animals in zoos are severely unhappy, though. Zoos are not capable of offering the habitat an animal would need. Woolly mammoths used to roam the Arctic tundras, but a zoo could never offer that. The weather would be too hot and the enclosure too small. Animals are also stressed that there are constantly people messing with them. This ranges from people tapping on the glass to throwing items into the enclosure. In 2005, someone threw an item into the endangered polar bear's pen in St. Louis, and the bear ate the item and died because of it. The stress animals are under is very harmful. An Oxford study found that the average age of a captive African elephant lives 16.9 years, whereas a wild African elephant on a nature preserve lives 56 years of great life. Scientists would also make the animals undergo cruel tests so they could learn more about the species. It is way more important to work to save the animals that are facing extinction and still playing a critical role in the ecosystem today than to save animals that no longer would benefit the Earth. The leatherback turtle, Iberian lynx, and orangutan are all critically endangered and will likely be extinct in the next 10 years. Over the past 500 years, 800 species have gone extinct because of man, and now there are a total of 16,306 animals and plants on the endangered species list. Most of these animals are on that list because of human impacts. Poaching, habitat loss, and climate change are all big factors leading these animals to extinction. If even one of these species dies out, the ecosystem will feel disastrous results. Every single species has a niche that is critical for maintaining a healthy ecosystem. These niches will be unfilled if that species goes away. For example, the wolf keeps caribou numbers steady, but if the wolf was gone, the caribou population would soar, then overeat, then not have enough food, and then face a huge decline. Time is a limited, and the change needs to happen fast to save these species, but lots of money and resources is required. It is way more important to use the funding and resources devoted to de-extinction to help save endangered animals now than bring them back when they're already gone. There are also many consequences that could happen as a result of the introduction of extinct species. If we bring back an animal and attempt to put a stable population into the wild, like the woolly mammoth, there could be some nasty results. The introduction of a species into the wild could harm the ecosystem it's dropped in. The de-extinct animal would be an invasive species and have to take over other species' niches to survive. This would jeopardize the welfare of current animals, and it could also just be a total failure. The animal had a much different environment when it lived and could likely die very quick in the new one. If it is illegal to not get your boat checked that may have zebra mussels lurking in it, When you put it in a new lake, it should be illegal to introduce any extinct animal back into the wild. There could be some benefits of de-extinction, since humans drove almost 1,000 species to death. Some feel that we owe it to them to bring them back. They also could have a positive effect on the environment. The manure from woolly mammoths could turn Russia's Arctic soil fertile and capable of containing good grass. Genetic engineering could also reach a huge milestone if we could successfully clone species. And for many people, the greatest benefit of de-extinction is to see those animals again. It would be so cool to see a saber-toothed tiger or a velociraptor, but it's not worth it. These benefits are so outweighed by the costs, and Mary Shelley, the greatest romantic author, would agree. Throughout Shelley's greatest work, Frankenstein, she exposes her view that science can go too far and it is best not to. Bringing extinct animals back to life is very similar to Victor creating a creature out of dead parts, and we all know how that turned out. In the fourth letter to Elizabeth, Walton is saying how he feels that one man's life is a small price to pay for the acquirement of knowledge, and how he would sacrifice anything to reach his goal. Upon hearing this, Victor has a strong reaction. I beheld tears trickle fast from between his fingers, a groan burst from his heaving breast. I paused. At length he spoke in broken accents. Unhappy man, do you share my madness? Shelley 13. The deeper meaning behind this is that no goal is worth death. It is better to keep everyone safe than justify danger by saying it is for science. Victor believes Walton is going too far and wants to stop him from making a mistake. This is what prompts Victor to tell his story about how the consequences of science can be brutal. This is similar to de-extinction because only pursuing the goal of bringing extinct animal back can be disastrous. How can I describe my emotions at this catastrophe, or how delineate the wretch whom such infinite pains and care I had endeavored to form? Shelley, 43. Shelley is saying that scientists can only focus on the end and make bad decisions, but they are too focused to be aware of it until they are done, and then there's nothing they can do. Many scientists are blindly trying to create monsters that were once dead today and will only realize their mistake when they're done. The idea of creating a saber-toothed tiger is so exciting that people can't realize the consequences of that creation. The third quote from Frankenstein comes when Victor is in the Orkneys working on the creation of a second creature. He has just realized that he can't follow through on his promise and says, "The wickedness of my promise burst upon me. I shuddered to think that future ages might curse me as their pest, whose selfishness had not hesitated to buy its own peace at the price, perhaps, of the existence of the whole human race." Shelley, 156. Shelley is showing that people can easily get caught up in their personal desires, and those can have terrible impacts to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world will be very upset about it. Scientists are now trying to bring back extinct animals, but their results could kill many currently endangered species and destroy ecosystems all over the world. The rest of the world would then curse the scientists that did that, similar to Victor and his monster. Overall, the reintroduction of extinct species is a terrible idea because they could destroy ecosystems and other species. They also would be treated badly, and the resources needed to do this project could be way better spent saving currently endangered species. Mary Shelley knew this dark day would come, and she warned us through Frankenstein. It is best not to bring creatures back from the dead.